Welcome to Looking Ahead to Beto Days. I am Chris,
And I'm Ryan.
and we've got a few things to bring you this week. Um, Before we get into anything else, we want to start with the Q3 numbers because they were released this week.
Yeah, we were just kind of chatting online, decided to just hop on real quick and record our thoughts. So why don't we hear about that real quick?
All right, Chris. So the fundraising numbers just came out for Q3. Did you have a chance to look at them recently?
I got to look at them a little bit. I know we did 4.5 million in Q3.
So in the last show, we made guesstimates. Do you remember what they were? I think I was 6 to 7 million, and I can't remember what you said.
Yeah, I think I said 10 to 11. I was way
Yeah,
off.
I told you I was way overestimating it. Yeah. So what was it? What did you say? What was the actual number?
$4.5 million dollars.
Which is a lot of money
For a grassroots campaign like it is. That's a good chunk of change.
That's $1 million more than he last did the previous quarter. And we have to remember, he raised money for March for Our Lives and Mom's Demand. Almost $1 million went to that. And he also raised money, I think they said almost $1 million for down ticket candidates. So if you think about his total, fundraising muscle flex that he did last quarter, it was close to almost what Booker did, almost $6 million. So that's not bad at all.
No, it's
that
not.
Should be something to be proud of.
And they people aren't thinking about those numbers because even when El Paso happened, he started taking money for like victims and stuff.
Exactly.
And like he you don't see other campaigns do that.
Shut down his
whole campaign.
Shut down his campaign for almost 2 weeks there. Yeah.
Just about 2 weeks, and he's also taken all this money from and giving it to other places. Like, how many other candidates are doing that? Like, I get Kamala Harris's emails still. Because I honestly looked at her while I was waiting for Beto to announce.
Right.
I was interested, so I signed up. Get into everybody. She doesn't do shit like that.
Right. So they also did I don't know if you had a chance. They did a staff meeting. I know some people are having issues with the YouTube feed, but the Twitter feed actually was working relatively well.
Yeah. The YouTube feed did not work at all.
Yeah, the Twitter one was fine. So anyways, I got a chance to listen to it, and there was some really encouraging stuff in there. So obviously we talked, got to remember where we started off the quarter, where we were, let's be frank, it was a little lackluster last quarter. We just kind of were more or less not doing a lot. And then El Paso happened. So you think, we started off kind of slow. We took a break for a period of time. And then in the month of September, we saw a 20% growth in the number of donations. There was something
like a pretty big increase with new donors. It was like 35% or something like that.
Something like that. And then there was a large number of the size of donations that increased, all in the month of September, which was crazy to me. But the number that stood out to me when Jen told us this, there was a 51% increase in number of volunteers.
Yeah, that's a great fucking number.
Like,
that's
Jesus
awesome.
Christ, I would rather have manpower than money. Manpower beats money any day in a campaign. So,
especially in a grassroots campaign.
Oh yeah, 51% social media online. He's got the third most impressions in this race. That's a pretty, so he is driving the narrative. People are talking about him. People are, that is a good thing. I say all the time, I would rather be the one driving the conversation than the one trying to hide from the conversation.
Or just being drug along and having to, pick up the pieces. You want to be the one who holds and dictates the narrative. Mm-hmm. And one of the big things I read through the email, not the email, their plan that Beto put up on his page. And, a lot of it is media spin. He put a lot of emphasis on the fact that the media has painted it like it's a 2-candidate race when there's, multiple candidates out there.
That's exactly what they reinforce. And it's true. I mean, my eyes, my ears, it reinforces that. You look at any headline and it's Warren and Biden. That's the only thing anybody ever talks about. So,
which isn't even a compelling race.
No, it's not. It's not. And they just discount the possibility that anybody could even potentially break out. But the number that they looked at and they reharped on, 9%. You know what 9% stands for?
Oh, 9% is the number of voters who've decided who they're voting for.
Exactly. That's the most important number out of any kind of these polling, 9%. Now, they still have a 40% unknown name. Like, he's just, people don't know who he is. 40% of the voters still don't know. There's a lot of people not paying attention. So people who are concerned about polls, don't be. It's not till the end of December or January that you really start worrying about stuff like that. Right now, it's just getting out. Like, we had our last episode on volunteers, getting out and volunteering and being the change you want to be. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just
being the change you want to see. Sorry, yeah, that's the saying. Being the change you want to see.
Yeah, well, it worked the other way too. So I was like, maybe he means it that way. I'm just gonna roll along with it. That's good. It sounds good. It sounded good, and that's in the podcast world. It is a that's the important part.
Take it. Yeah,
I'll take it too. But yeah, no, like that's another thing. You see an increase in support in the places he goes because he makes an impact on people, and he goes to so many places. The money and polls and the shit you see on TV. I mean,
let's be honest.
Yeah, it's going to have an impact, but at the end of the day, it's not going to be this big game changer.
They made some points. Did you know we raised more money in Q3 than Trump raised in Q3 in 2016?
I did not know that.
Yeah, we raised more money than Trump did. Think about that. Think about that. So think about.
Well, that's because he was,
and you know who was the leader at that time? Ben Carson.
Ben fucking Carson.
Ben Carson was the fundraising leader. So just put that in perspective when you think about these numbers that are out there. The name of the game is not to be. Yeah, I mean, sure. Yeah, I would love to have millions and millions of dollars and leading the polls. I mean, who wouldn't? But at the end of the day, the real name of the game is keeping the message going, driving the message, and survival. It's survival until January, February when votes get cast. If we have a strong campaign going into when the real polling begins, we'll be fine.
Oh, no, and I totally agree. Mm-hmm. It's all about money. Like those $25 donations, that's a tank of gas. Mm-mm. Dude rides around in a van. Mm-hmm. Help him out.
Yeah.
Drop some money on it. That's how we beat. That's how we win. We don't win through polls and we don't win through TV.
Yep.
Now they have said that they are going to ramp up that kind of stuff, which I mean, you've got to.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's still going to be won by us on the ground.
Well, we have our goal, right?
$2 million in 6 weeks.
Totally achievable. I mean, if you think we raised $750,000 in 10 days at the end of the third quarter, that just means all you have to do is just maintain that same growth curve, which we've been having we have a history of this growth. And as long as we maintain that, we're golden, so there's your strategy. You want to know what your strategy is and your long-term strategy, maintaining this momentum and growth. We have
Absolutely.
it. We've seen it since El Paso. I mean, if you get out there and you talk to people and you're doing it, like you'll see the momentum. You just got to go out there and start looking for it and be part of it.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. And for you guys that are out there fretting about these numbers, don't. It's not a big deal. And I'll tell you what, I'm a regular person. I'm a teacher. We live with my fucking in-laws. We don't have a lot of money, and I still find time to donate. And it's people like me that are donating to this campaign. So we're not going to be able to give $1 billion. We're not Tom Steyer who funds himself.
Right. This is why it's important for you to be involved. It's important for not only for you to donate, but to get your friends to donate, get your family to donate, start hitting up your brothers, sisters, cousins, uncles, nieces, nephews. Now's the time to start nudging a little bit. And now's the time to start pasting on Facebook and kind of say, hey, go donate, This is where you start like really spreading your wings, and
it is absolutely crunch
time.
We're
in a good spot. I mean, we're in a good spot. I would rather, I would rather be the one driving the narrative, the one people are talking about. I mean, just today or yesterday, he made a big splash of the LGBTQ forum, and things like that. Now everybody's talking about him again.
He stays in the news. People
Yes.
want him, like they want him on TV, like they
Yes.
want him there.
So
It's just he's not provided that much. He hasn't provided that much access. And when I say it's crunch time, I don't necessarily mean in a bad way. I just mean we need to knuckle down and do some fucking work.
oh yeah.
That's all it's gonna take.
Guess what? It's campaign season.
Yep.
So
Let's get out.
welcome to campaign season. Let's get to work.
Yep. So the Q3 numbers weren't terrible. They're definitely an improvement. We're definitely moving in the right direction. It is growth. And that's the most important thing. And that's what a lot of people are missing here is the amount of growth that was made.
Exactly. So anyways, moving on. You also, something that we've been percolating for a while. And I guess since you raised this individual $3,700, you get to conduct an interview with them. So why don't you tell us about who you interviewed here?
So about almost a month ago now, me and Kelly Willett, who I've talked to a bunch of times, she's been on the show. We made contact with Marcel McClinton, who's running for city council in Houston. And you've heard me talk about him on the show quite a bit because I really want to see this kid elected.
I met him, very, very smart, bright kid. Yeah,
he is awesome.
I'm saying kid, but he's running for city council. Like this man, he's a man.
he's a young man, and man, he's wise beyond his years.
Yeah,
I am like thoroughly impressed by everything he does. It's crazy. But anyways, so me and him have been bouncing back and forth. We held this fundraiser, and me and him have been really just talking shit back and forth about the Yankees and the Astros for like 2 weeks.
Theme of this episode.
Theme of this episode. It comes up a lot. Playoff baseball, man. But I asked Marcel, I was like, do you want to do an interview? Like, we can really make this kind of huge. We can raise you some more money. I think I've got a good enough listener base that we can kind of help you out. And Marcel's really, really bright, and we're really proud of this interview. Mm-hmm. So,
well, let's hear it.
Yeah, let's go ahead and bring Marcel on. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce our special guest. I'd like to introduce Marcel McClinton.
Hey, y'all, I'm Marcel McClinton from Houston, Texas, 18 years old, gun violence survivor, activist, and also candidate for Houston City Council at large. 3. So excited. It's been an exciting year. Excited to be here. Thank y'all for having me on.
Absolutely, man.
Thanks
Absolutely. Yeah, thanks for coming on. Now we did I've been working with Marcel just a little bit over the last month or so. I think is when we started talking. We ran the fundraiser in Newport News, which was just an absolute fuck ton of fun. By the way,
I'm glad.
Everybody who was there who got to speak with you was really, really, really impressed with all of the stuff that you had to say. And I think I've told you several times, as soon as you cut out, one of the ladies that was there said, that was amazing. He's really, really bright. So there's your compliment.
Well, I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
I'll remember that when I mess with you for being an Astros fan. Go Yankees. So what made you run? What inspired you to get involved, especially at such a young age?
Yeah, so I mean, I survived the shooting in 2016 outside of my church, and I didn't get involved then. What really pushed me to... Wait, did y'all hear that? Was that my computer?
No.
You're good.
Okay, did I just fuck it up by...
No, you're good.
No, you're
and
good.
I'm totally going to leave this in there. I hope you know that.
Okay, deal. So I wasn't pushed to get involved after my shooting. I didn't really understand or see the connection between gun violence, my experience, and our gun laws. And so it wasn't until the Parkland shooting that I felt inspired. I was watching young people my age on TV, talk about demanding change and stepping up to the plate, and how we're the ones that we've been waiting for, and that message really resonated with me a lot. And so after I was appointed to the mayor's gun task force coming out of the Santa Fe high school shooting in May, serving on that commission is what really opened my eyes to wanting to find more ways that local governments can tackle big issues, and not just kind of yes, the everyday, the streets and street lights and, more green space and parks. These are all issues that we're talking about also, but also we need to be proactive on a bunch of issues that we're facing right now that are going to get worse if we don't act now. Like gun violence, like climate change. Our city is hit by floods every single year, and there are 1,000-year, 500-year floods, and we're hit with them all the time. And so we're feeling the effects of climate change directly, and the storms are going to get bigger and they're going to get worse. And I just don't trust current leadership to keep the best interests of the future of our city in mind when legislating. And that's what I want to do is legislate with the future of our city in mind, and not just my 4-year term, but the next 25 and 50 years. And that's what I haven't seen on council in this seat specifically that I'm running in. So I wanted to get involved. I wanted to run, and I remember that phrase. We're the ones we've been waiting for, and so I live with that and push.
Yeah, you've seen a massive amount of young people that have really risen up. Yeah. So like you guys are definitely making a difference, and you're inspiring to like kids in my classroom. Like they pick up on things that a lot of the older kids are doing, and it's really, really impressive. To say the least.
It's exciting. Just today I'm in Toledo, Ohio right now, and I spoke to some city leaders, and then we held these conversations, and I was working with students from different Toledo schools who all came to Woodward High School, and we spent the entire day talking about issues that affect young people, and so they broke out into 4 different groups and came up with action plans that they can do, and they talked about community engagement to combat violence, talked about gun violence specifically, talked about other issues that people are facing in school, like gang affiliation, like opioids and drug abuse, sex trafficking also is big here, and bullying. So young people are smarter than I think we give. Or I shouldn't say we, because I am young, but I think young people are smarter than folks older than us give us credit for. Even in organizing this, we had some conversations about worrying about whether or not the students that were engaged today would actually be engaging. Would there be any conversation, or should we guide conversation? Should we lead discussion? And I was like, no. I'm all for free thought. And what we saw today was, there was little direction, and everyone was engaged, and everyone had ideas. Because young people are thinking about these problems already. I think we realize that these issues are not going to suddenly only affect us when we turn 18 and can finally vote, or whenever we turn 21 and are legal adults. The issues that we're talking about affect us regardless of our age, regardless of our political affiliation, regardless of how our parents are voting. And so it's on us to step up to the plate and I think work every single day to change what we're seeing. And it's a scary time we're living right now, America. I mean, we can talk about the fabric of our democracy, but we can also talk about climate change and how it how time is ticking, or gun violence, or name an issue. There's so much going on.
So Marcel, let's go ahead and talk about climate change. You did mention the flooding here in Houston. I was here for Harvey. I'm from Galveston, so we didn't get quite as much rain as y'all did, but we did still get a bit down here. But flooding is a big issue. It's always been an issue for Houston, but over the last several years, it's really gotten worse, especially when you start seeing, especially when you start seeing some of these subdivisions literally getting built inside of flood zones. And that's something that Houston's always really challenged with, because we don't really have zoning here. So how do you handle that? How do you handle that when these developers start building inside of flood zones, or building in these intentionally building in these floodplains?
So step one is it's immoral, and it's sick that we're allowing developers to build houses that we know are going to be wiped out in a flood, and we know that folks are going to be left homeless after residing in these homes for X amount of time. The same goes for landlords who are renting out homes to folks without explaining the threat of flooding in whatever area of town you're renting. in. So I am for putting forth an ordinance and supporting initiatives where we require landlords and developers to explain the information, or you're not going to be a landlord. You're not going to be renting homes. You're not going to be building homes. It's time for that all to stop. We should not be building more homes in floodplains. We've already begun projects in the 100-year flood, in the next 100-year floodplain, and it makes no sense to me. It should make no sense to anyone. It's common sense. Why are we going to build more homes in areas that we know are going to flood? I live in a part of town that is very prone to flooding. I live on the far west side. Addicks Dam is like behind my house. And the area was wiped out in Harvey. It was wiped out in Harvey. And every time it rains now, I think Houstonians all over the city are suffering from PTSD, worried. And we used to not be unsure if we could make it home, but now you don't know if the streets on your way home are going to be flooded, underwater, or too dark to see. And so, yeah, I mean, we're living in a scary time right now with the storms that we face. And I think that, part of the plan has to be accountability for city officials and county officials and developers and landlords, but also, getting real about our drainage system. Our drainage system in Houston sucks. I think the last time we revisited our drainage system was in the 80s or early 90s. And these drains are only meant to hold these every regular like thunderstorms that we could see in a 3-year time span. So they're not meant to hold water that from 1,000-year and 500-year floods and massive hurricanes and tropical storms. They're not meant for that. So we need to go in and redo our drainage systems all across the city. And I think then we'll see some genuine change, but also be proactive and aggressive and bold when working to tackle climate change. Our city, I think, has a unique ability and ability to lead this fight against climate change, because we are the energy capital of the world, not just Texas, not just America, but the world. And so others will follow our lead. And I think that if we are reinvesting and investing in the expansion of renewable energy, we'll see other localities follow. And if it's just Texas cities that are following us, then so be it. But I think that over time we're going to see a chain reaction, and then we'll see some genuine good come out of this fight. And so I want to see us do that. I do support the mayor's climate action plan. I don't think it's bold and aggressive enough, but I think it's a great start. Yeah.
And that's a great point about y'all's plan spreading nationwide.
Yeah.
I grew up in a town that is below sea level. I was in Isabel, so when I think it was 17, when Isabel hit in 2003, I had water up to my waist. My parents' house had never flooded. And that was just in my front yard.
Yeah.
And then ever since then, the whole idea with PTSD too, every time it rains, we always wondered, well, are we going to be able to get home?
Yeah.
Are we going to have power? Because then we've been getting nor'easters, right? That's why I don't live in that city. Yeah. Actually, the ironic part about that is I left this area, moved to New Jersey, West Long Branch, New Jersey, because I didn't want to deal with hurricanes anymore. And that's when Sandy hit.
Wow.
I was in Sandy too. I was in the area. I was actually weirdly the only person up there who knew what they were doing, because I'd been in Isabel. So nobody was prepared.
It's horrible. I mean, I think that floods, and we're seeing them not just get more wet, right? I mean, and hold more water. These storms are getting deadly, and they're killing people. And they're killing animals, and they are massively destructive. They're dangerous storms, and we treat them like they're, it's just another rainy day in the city, when it's not,
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, that's people. They have hurricane parties in Pocosin. Anytime it rains, people go out there and they will get everything they need, and then they get a case of beer. that's part of the hurricane survival pack.
That's the hurricane plan. Yeah,
that is their hurricane plan, dude. There was a guy in Isabel, I shit you not, that was at the very end of the city. who I guess he didn't expect the water to come up, had to tie himself to a tree, and they found him sitting on his cooler tied to the tree.
Oh my gosh.
And they eventually evacuated him out with his cooler full of beer.
As they should. Bring in the essentials, I guess.
Right? Yeah, well, just don't leave your beer.
Heaven forbid.
Yeah, right. So, and actually, in hearing you talk, and I'm going back to, I guess, the more national stage, and Ryan can bring us back to Houston in a second. But I really caught on to the idea of what you were saying about young people in this thing you're at in Toledo. Yeah. Are you guys looking to take that and make it national? Because I have a bunch of students that would absolutely love something like that. When Parkland hit. And they had all of those march outs. My students and my co-teacher students, we had our entire classes walk out.
That's awesome.
But not just because they wanted to miss class. Like, we had conversations with them. We were told that we weren't allowed to tell them they could, but we couldn't make them stay.
Yeah.
So we had conversations about it, and they took that initiative. So there are students and young people around the nation who would like to hear that. What are y'all's plans going forward?
Yeah, so this is just Marcel the activist. So I was invited out by the city of Toledo to come meet with their city leadership, and we're going to have a panel tomorrow with the mayor and some other city leaders who've been on the ground doing great work here for a long time. And then today was a thing they had set, or that we had all set up with Toledo Public School System. And so I am open to going around more and talking to more students. This is my passion, is engaging other young folks to become a part of this process and a part of this system, and just to be engaged and to be in it, and to know that again, we're the ones that we've been waiting for. I think that what I loved a lot today is, we were talking to students in this program called SMARTS. And these are students who are marginalized in the school system. They kind of have, they've been expected to fail for so long, but they want to be a part of this program. They're doing great in school, and they have after school programs, and they care about making positive change in their communities. And so these are kids who have, lost friends to gun violence, who are used to be in gangs, students who, some used to be drug dealers, and they've done different things, they've kind of lived that life, and they either are still living that life and just need a hand out, or they've completely changed and done a 180, and it's great to watch. And so it was rewarding to see, every time I go into a room with other young folks, I think that, hopefully just one person in this room takes something away, and does something, magnificent with whatever inspirations they felt, after our conversation and discussion. And I think that today, I hope what it seemed like to me was almost all of them took something away. And so I'm excited to watch that, transpire, and I want to keep up with the work they're doing in Toledo. And part of it is you can't just go into a community, give some resources and put folks in contact with one another, and then leave. You have to remain engaged. You have to be a part of the change that they want to build. And so that's what I'm looking to do, while also, running for office down here, and while also hopefully serving for 4 years after November. So, but it's a passion of mine, and I want to do more of it. So I'm game to come out and speak to some students up there.
Yeah, I might tap you on that. I'm just letting you know.
Deal.
And no bullshit. As a teacher, especially in the area that I teach in, we all have this fear, because I think just about a good portion of the students or teachers in the school have had students die to gun violence. Yeah. I taught had a student who I taught last year, who I have again this year, who I had to have a sit down conversation with, because her sister was murdered.
Jeez.
And over the summer, there are plenty of kids that lose people to gun violence.
Yeah.
And it's an epidemic. So what you're doing is awesome, and reaching out to those kids and giving them something to aspire to, or to be able to make a difference. It gives them something that replaces a lot of that pain.
Yeah.
So I bullshit a lot. but I do appreciate that.
For sure.
Ryan, we want to bring it back to Houston. Ryan, did we lose Ryan?
Did we lose Ryan?
All right, well, that's okay. He asked a really good question before he went silent. I bet you his microphone shut off because he has this microphone. I'm willing to bet its battery's died. That shit would be funny.
Probably because it says he's still on or something.
No, I know he'd still be in the room.
Yeah. Oh no, yeah, okay. Apparently my batteries did die, and they might die again in just a second.
That's
Welcome
cool.
back.
Thank you. I was wondering why I couldn't jump back in the conversation. I was like, damn, you kept talking over me.
No, we didn't know
you
you were talking.
It's all right. Let me ask this question before my batteries die again real quick then. All right, so we were talking about some big issues, and this is a big issue that I don't think there really is a good answer to, which is homelessness. I work in downtown. I drive in from Galveston, commute in from Galveston to downtown, and driving up I-45, I mean, downtown Houston has a big homeless population.
Yeah.
There's camps all up and down the freeways. I mean, you can't criminalize them, which seems to be, you can't criminalize away homelessness,
right,
which seems to be the preferred solution. So, what can we do about that?
Yeah. So, homelessness is a big issue, and just that's near and dear to my heart. So, we being my family, were homeless for 9 months and lived in a shelter when I was really, really young. And so, whenever I started the campaign and throughout the campaign, I've gone and walked down Commerce and 59, where there's a huge tent city set up that spans all the way underneath 59, and have just, we give supplies, we talk to folks, and I always ask every person that I meet, I see every homeless person that we see in the city, I think that the city has failed. We have so much to offer, Houstonians who I think are already thriving, and folks who are kind of expected to be successful and thrive. And then we completely throw others away in our city because they fucked up or life happened or who knows what. We have a drug addiction problem in the city of Houston. We have an alcoholism problem in the city of Houston. We have mental health issues that go untapped and ignored. And also, folks are just end up homeless unexpectedly. I've met engineers who had a job like a month ago, and are just being sick or needing surgery. They're one health scare away from ending up homeless, and it happens to people every single day. So to tackle it, I think that what we should not be doing is the feeding ban that we have right now in place. So if you feed 5 or more homeless folks in the city of Houston, you can be arrested and fined.
That is some bullshit. I didn't know that.
It's ridiculous. It's the most immoral and it's sick. It is literally it's fucking monstrous. And I don't think that anyone obeys the law, but it's on paper. It's on paper, and that is the law in the city of Houston. It went into effect a couple of years ago. So that's not how we tackle homelessness. What I've heard from the homeless community is the housing process in the city of Houston just takes forever. You can be on this waiting list for anywhere from 6 months to 2 years. And if you miss that one scheduled date that you're supposed to go into the office to see if you qualify for housing, you're put on the bottom of the pack. You're put on the bottom of the list. Part of this is needing to, kind of not restaff, but up our staff at these centers to be able to handle more cases and be able to flush the housing benefits out in a faster way. But also, if we go back to just square one at why folks are ending up homeless to begin with, it's because we lack mental health resources, because we lack resources that these folks can tap into to tackle their drug abuse and substance abuse. And so I think that if we really put our money into those two programs, as well as re-upping the housing program and housing offices, I think that we'll see some genuine change come out of that. I'm not confident in saying, I'm not a person who is for just giving every single person, we shouldn't be giving. Well, I'll back up. That's how I think we tackle this. Houston has criminalized the homeless for so long. I've heard folks in the city even tell me we need to find a place, move all of the homeless there, and never ever build anything else around there so no one has to go there. And that was the most sickening thing that I've ever heard a human being say to me about other human beings. But that is the mindset and the culture that we are building and allowing to thrive in our city. The thought that these people are less than human, or that they're animals, that they're rabid and shouldn't be around us. They're Houstonians too, I've talked to so many folks who came from Beaumont and Dallas and Austin, and say that they've been told to move to Houston because they hear that Houstonians are nicer people and that they're more inviting and loving. And that the support here is better. And so people are coming to Houston for assistance and for help, and they genuinely want it. Not everyone, is trying to what they say, be an eyesore. That's not their intent. They're just people who need help. Everyone needs help at some point in life, and we should be helping them.
Absolutely. And what you described was a fucking Hooverville, by the way. Those popped up in the Great Depression. Like that shit like that brought down a presidency.
Yeah. I mean, it's sick. It's sick stuff. But people want it. People do want it. I don't understand it though at all.
It's just I got nothing. Like very seldom am I speechless, but that is just some absolute bullshit.
Yeah.
I mean, people are people, and you got to think about how people got there in the first place.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
You were one health scare away from losing everything. Right. My brother had cancer when he was 2 and when he was 3. My parents have good insurance, and they're still paying on his bills.
Wow.
Now, imagine my dad wasn't like a fucking nuclear engineer, right? And he's got a good job. My mom's a teacher.
Right.
Not everybody is those things or can do those things. If you're working a minimum wage job and you get sick, it shouldn't be a choice between life and death, or being able to afford your insulin, or homelessness and cancer care.
Exactly.
Or chemotherapy. It's mind blowing. And then you get into the whole opioid end of it. People get hooked. They take these medicines and they get hooked on them. They expand to fucking heroin, and then they end up on the streets. Like we have to start treating them like people, and like it's like the disease they have. Like a drug abuse is mental health. It's a disease.
Agreed.
And we're not doing enough to help.
Agreed. And I think that what's really unfortunate is there's no one kind of there's no one fix to homelessness. These things have to happen back to back. And they have to happen, kind of at once, at the same time, or we're not going to see change come out of it. And it has to be only geared towards the homeless community that we have right now. And then let's work towards expanding the hell out of the programs that we can offer.
Absolutely. When you work for when you are a city council member, or if you're just a fucking citizen, you're all in it together.
Yeah.
You got to look out for each other, and just because somebody is homeless doesn't mean they're not a resident in your city.
Exactly.
They matter too.
They do.
But awesome, man. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, for sure.
I feel like every time we talk, I learn a little bit more, not just about you, but about all of the stuff that you do, because you do some really great shit, man.
I stay busy.
Yeah, for sure. I picked up on that.
Yeah. I try. There's a lot going on in the world. It's hard not to be busy. But,
I'm right there with you. If I'm not at home, if I'm not doing the podcast, I'm doing something with volunteering, or I'm at school.
Yes, and all good things to be a part of.
Exactly. So, but before we go, I want you to tell us kind of like what are you campaigning on? What is your stance? What is your issue? If you could campaign on one thing, and that would be the thing, what would that be? Not like one thing, because everybody's got a bunch of different things. You know what I'm saying?
I can't name one, but I can give you a couple. One just to make clear, gun violence is the issue that is nearest and dearest to my heart. It is the one that personally affected me, or one of the issues that personally affected me. But that is the issue that I've been working on the longest, and I will continue to do everything in my power to eradicate from our communities. And I serve on the mayor's gun task force still, and we have an action plan, of over 40 different action items that we can do in the city today, to be combating and be proactive in the fight to combat gun violence. So that to me is super, super important. But also, what's important to me is tackling the flooding problem. This is, I think we just saw numbers come out in the Chronicle. Flooding is the number one issue for Houstonians. It scares us the most, it affects us the most, and it's on our minds every single time that it rains. And so I want to tackle the flooding issue. I also want to tackle the congestion, the traffic congestion that we see in the city. We're on track to grow and be the third largest city in America and beat Chicago in the next 5 years. And our roads do not show that growth or that room for growth. Actually, they show a lot of room for growth. There's so much room for growth when it comes to Houston's infrastructure. And we've kind of had this mindset that building wider is going to decongest our traffic, which is the exact opposite of the rules of traffic decongestion. You don't build wider. Building wider just means more cars can be on the road now, and there's more lanes to be backed up. So I want us to go in and redesign our intersections. We need sidewalks in the city of Houston. We lack sidewalks and access to walk different places. I want us to see more green spaces in the city of Houston that will also double serve as retention ponds in the city. So you build them just a little bit below ground level, or the road level, and then those three things to me are the biggest: infrastructure in our roads, the gun violence issue, and flooding. Those are my top three, I think, going in for those are first on my agenda. But I also am passionate about combating sex trafficking. I want us to see the city reinvest in the Black community on the South Side and bring business there. We have a food desert in District D. There's no access to affordable food and grocery stores in that district, which directly ties into depression. We see this in impoverished areas, affecting Black and brown communities the most. And it ties in directly to obesity and unhealthy just habits and high cholesterol and all these different things, diabetes, because people don't have equal access to affordable, healthy food. So those are to name off a few top issues. Those are my top issues, and I really want to work to combat them all. Homelessness, of course. So that's on my plate.
Yeah, you definitely have a lot going on, and so I know your time is super, super valuable. So I got just one last question for you. I know you're going to take the Astros, but how many games is it going to take?
How many games is it going to take? I'm trying to think of a smart answer. I'm trying to think of all I know is Astros are beating the Yankees. You cannot defeat the fucking Stros. You literally can't. And there's no even debating that fact. There's none.
All right, I'll give it to you. I've got the Yankees in 6 because I think they're going to have a hard time with Cole, to be honest with you. In
Yankees
Game 3.
in 6.
Yankees in 6. Yankees in 6. I think the Astros are going to take at least 2. Honestly, at least. So, anyways,
I was gonna run with 3. Just cause.
Well, it's a 7-game series. It's 4. So you think that the Astros are going to sweep the Yankees?
I think we're going to sweep the Yankees.
Bold predictions here on Looking Ahead to
I think
Beto
we're going
Days.
to sweep. Mopping the floor with y'all.
I'm sending you a broom if the Yankees sweep the Astros, by the way.
I'll send you a bucket of water. Just the Stros.
Thanks. I appreciate that. All right, Marcel.
Deal. Okay.
Thanks for coming on, man.
I appreciate it. Have a good night.
You too. So we hope you guys.
Awesome.
Yeah,
That was awesome. Like I love that. That was great to talk to him. I was sad my batteries. I guess I left my microphone on, and my batteries kept dying. So, but yeah, it was great to listen to him kind of talk about a few of the issues we had. So.
Specifically in Houston, and that's why we brought Ryan on, because Ryan knows Houston and I do not, because I live in Virginia.
Yeah, and I told him like this was kind of a last minute. We had actually jumped on to talk about the Q3 numbers, and he's like, "Oh, by the way, I'm interviewing Marcel," so I stuck around and we talked. So
it's a good part of being in the business, as we call it here at Looking Ahead to Better Days, in the business. And speaking of business, and I guess it doesn't really count as a business, but if you DM us at Look to Beto Days, we are selling shirts. They're awesome. The Envoys helped us with them, so we're raising money for Beto and for us to be able to do cool shit or get like new equipment, or for things like Ryan's going to Dallas tomorrow, which, oh, by the way,
I'm in Dallas today.
Oh, he's in Dallas right now.
Yes.
If you were in Dallas today, tomorrow, go to Beto's counter rally against Trump. That is tomorrow night. I don't care who you support.
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock.
Be there.
I don't care who you support. We can all get behind the fact that Donald Trump is the fucking worst thing that's ever happened to this country. And that's saying a hell of a lot, considering all of the abhorrent shit that we've done.
And it doesn't matter, anybody, the point is we need to get out there and prove that Texas is truly a battleground state. I mean, that's what this is about. He can't take Texas. He's here to campaign because he knows he can't take us for granted. We got to show him that that it's going to be a fight no matter what. So come on out. We need to show our support.
And speaking of a fight no matter what, that brings us to the meat of our episode, and that is that we put our debate team together. This week was the debate. It was in Ohio. It was kind of a shit show, and let's go ahead and bring the team on, and we'll talk about it. So I'm going to go ahead and bring on Dan and Hannah. What's going on, guys?
Hey.
Hi, guys.
You guys sound so thrilled. You must have just stopped watching the debates.
Such an exciting 2 hours of our lives.
They were riveting.
2 hours of your life? Come on.
I will admit that I definitely tuned out at parts.
Yeah. Oh, of course.
Me too. I fell asleep. I fell asleep and had to get to rewatch today. It's something.
Can we just say that no matter what, having 12 people on stage was a bad idea?
Yeah.
Like that. I don't know who thought that was a good idea, but it was a bad idea. And then to have 12 people on stage and you only focus on the top three. Yeah. It was bad.
Yeah, well, I would say 11 and Tom Steyer. I felt like he just kind of found his way there and was like, oh shit, I've got to participate now.
Can you stop taking my lines, but I'm going to say in a few minutes, my lord?
I'm sorry.
Bastard.
I'm sorry. Listen. I felt like every answer he was going to answer was just going to be impeachment. Because that's what people know him for. He was the impeachment guy for like 2 years. He's been on that shit forever. So enough about Tom Steyer. He's this episode's Marianne Williamson. And
I was going to say, one more thing about Tom Steyer. I'm really upset that we missed Tom Steyer and Marianne Williamson together on stage. I feel like that would have been some real primetime TV. But
I don't think the networks could have handled it.
Could be a TV show one day.
Yeah, it could be.
What if they do the commentary on election night?
Oh my god!
Move over,
it's like A-Rod and Big Papi doing commentary during postseason.
Right.
The hell with this sports reference, I like it.
Nice. Hey, nice.
Go Astros! Oh wait, what? Who said that?
Excuse me.
I'm sorry. Where?
I got your back, Ryan. I got your back. I can't have the Nationals and Yankees playing. I can't leave the fucking country right now. I can't afford to leave the country. I can't.
I told Chris the other day I know absolutely nothing about baseball, but I've been told now is a good time to start shit talking. So
that was hilarious.
Yeah.
He showed me that text message. That was hilarious.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, no, and then I had Marcel all over my ass yesterday, texting me all sorts of shit about the Astros. So this has been fun for me. All right, guys.
So and other losers and out there,
and other losers and winners, who do we think won the debate?
So can you even? So here's the problem. Can you even define what winning this debate is? I mean, nobody really had a big moment like Beto had last debate, but then those moments don't really happen. Other than that, I don't feel like anybody really could win this. There were some definite losers, but I don't know that you could really say someone won it.
I would agree with that. There was no real strong showing.
Well, besides Beto, of course, I think Amy had the best. Chloe had one of the better.
I agree with that.
Improved, and she was pretty on. She's very smart. She's very sharp. Different time, maybe she'd be a higher polling, but she was on point. She was going after Warren, but not in a Julian Castro kind of way, in a civilized, intelligent kind of way. And
I love that she kept calling her Elizabeth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. How it seemed to be almost like talking down to her in a way, but not really. But I guess they are colleagues.
Yeah, they probably know each other pretty well.
Yeah.
But I was thinking the same thing because we were rewatching it today, and I looked at Hannah. I said, Klobuchar had a really, really, really good showing. She just seems really, really nervous all the time.
Yeah. She was surprisingly funny at times. I mean, I'll give her that. You wouldn't think of that thinking about her, but she kind of is.
I mean, she definitely cracks herself up.
Yeah,
at least.
Good for her.
That little
it.
comment about her daughter when she's like, "Oh, sorry," but I appreciate it.
I love her Minnesotan accent.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
See, hey, there's nothing wrong with making yourself laugh. I make myself laugh all the time.
Don't I know
jokes,
it?
My jokes are for me. They're not for you. I don't give a shit if you laugh.
You do.
Be self-aware, Chris. Way to go.
So we've talked about who the winners were. We said that Beto was strong and Klobuchar was strong. Mm-hmm. Who had not a no good, terrible, awful night?
Alexandra was there. Just kidding. Well, so we talked about this before.
Kind of.
Chris has mentioned this a couple minutes ago. I don't want to say he's a loser, but Tom Steyer doesn't belong there. I put leave in my notes, but I said this before. I'll say it again. You have $1 billion. Use that differently.
Yeah.
Fun. Virginia right now that you guys have a couple weeks to have an important election. That could
Martha
decide your
Mugler.
state.
Martha Mugler. If you're listening to this and you live in the 91st district, vote for Martha Mugler.
You guys flip 4 seats in the House of Delegates. Am I saying that right?
Yeah.
You guys you change your majority to Democrats, and you can do a lot of good in that state. So keep that. Tom Steyer, put your money in. He spent $40 million or so to get into this race. Come on, you're wasting our time.
Yeah, yeah. I think it just really bothers most people. Like, how could you think that a billionaire buying his way into an election is going to resonate with voters in the Democratic primary? I just the cluelessness on that one. Yeah.
I can't buy that. I can't buy it at all.
Not anymore. Like you said, Dan. Not anymore.
Yeah.
You just it doesn't flow well. I would also say, and I would argue that Buttigieg had a bad night, and I know that a lot of people are going to be up in arms about it, but I wouldn't say it's because he said he may not have been wrong in some of the things that he said, but he came off like a dick and a pompous ass, and that bugs me. And it seemed like that way. Yeah. It wasn't even just that it was to Beto. I saw him do it to multiple candidates.
Oh, he did it to everybody. Anybody who had a more progressive idea than him, he attacked. And like you said, it's not like he did anything individually wrong. It wasn't like with when Julian was going after Biden, and he was just kind of hammering that age thing. But it was really kind of painted Pete as this lightning rod guy who's just attacking everybody in the race. So I guess if you like him, you like that, or if you're predisposed to liking him, you'd like that. But it really, to me, I didn't like the look.
Yeah, I super agree with you. I never was against him, but I feel like he's trying to become the younger version of Joe Biden, where he's the moderate, and he's not so conservative, but he's moderate, but he's not so moderate.
It's a weird swerve for him too, because he kind of started off this race as a fresh, young, bold, progressive person who's not afraid to stand what he believes in, and now he's just intentionally playing to this middle position that isn't fresh, bold, and progressive.
That's probably what he was told. He probably play the center, play more moderate, and you'll be fine. Yeah, he's the one who said, whatever we say, whatever we say, the bullshit Republicans will say, we're socialists. And now he's playing to that hand.
Exactly, because that's what the polls say. That's what the polls say, and at least that's what he thinks the polls say. And that actually, even, which isn't the truth.
Don't even.
He's polling okay. He's right where he probably wants to be. I don't know.
I mean, polling at 0% with the African American community as a Democrat,
not the problem.
That's a huge problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, but even Obama wasn't polling well, African Americans in 2008. It's funny to think about that.
But
not 0%.
Yeah.
No, not 0%.
Not 0%.
Not 0%.
No, obviously he wasn't.
0% is real bad. And while we're on Buttigieg and him being a dick, what about that? What you guys think about his exchange with Beto on guns?
I didn't understand where he Beto was attacking him about like courage. I didn't. That just very much confused me. I didn't feel Beto coming off as any kind of derogatory or demeaning of Pete Buttigieg in any kind of personal sense at all. So that kind of confused me.
Yeah.
And we can talk about the whole gun thing later, like actual policy.
Well,
no, because I think everybody kept coming after him about that. Like, how are you going to take him from him? How are you going to take him from him? I don't think that it's enough. We can talk about it later.
Well, you can talk about it now.
We're talking
about guns
it's a good time.
Well, no, I also wanted to kind of talk about, talking about winners and losers. We say, why is Tom Steyer there? I'm kind of trying to figure out why Tulsi Gabbard is still there.
Right.
That is also true.
When every response or the end of every response for her was, I'd like to ask Senator Warren why you think this. I'd like to ask Senator Warren why you don't do that.
Where does she come off thinking she's another moderator?
Yeah.
I mean, Jesus
She might as well be. What role she play?
Yeah.
That's true. And she seems very, very she wants to be the Democrat Trump. That sounds
no, that's fair.
Just like the way she handles Assad, all that stuff.
She's against impeachment. I mean, she was against impeachment until extremely recently, and she's still only just for the investigation. But if you really listen to her full answer, it's, well, I really don't want to vote on it because Republicans will vote against it, and it'll divide the country. Like, she's not in touch.
No, I feel like her only credentials are her military service, which I'm not trying to demean that at all, but if those are your only credentials and those are the ones that you keep harping on.
I'm a vet. I will tell you right now that being a vet qualifies me for absolutely nothing. I mean, it was something I did for a while, but it's not like you used to expect like special treatment and things like that,
And if those are her credentials, then I think that she is right where she needs to be in service for her country, is as a congresswoman serving on all of these military committees. She has, that is her experience, and that is exactly where she needs to be. And she even said it. She said, the single most important qualification is who is fit to be commander-in-chief. And I don't agree that is the single most important qualification to be the president of the United States. Yes, you need to know how to be an effective commander-in-chief, but the president of the United States wears many different hats. So I've just kind of, not that I was ever in the Tulsi Gabbard camp, not that I ever had anything against Tulsi Gabbard until, last night, but I have just definitely stepped away from that.
Also a little bit disconcerting that she's so out of touch with the Syria situation.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's just scary in that, it should disqualify her right away.
Yeah,
She said that lie, whatever she said, but the regime change was wrong.
Yeah, she said, yeah. She said that
Listen, whether or not the Republicans remove him or not, you can't do something because you're afraid of them saying no. You know, you can't let this guy get away with what he gets away with and keep doing it.
Yeah.
It just emboldens more people that come after him. And so, like, we kind of twisted and turned there with guns and Buttigieg and Tulsi Gabbard. And let's talk about one more guy that I'm not sure knows how he got there, and that is our math buddy.
Look,
Chris, that's mean.
I think Andrew Yang had a personal win at this debate.
Go on.
I think that his pet project is the whole automation of manufacturing. I think that is his pet issue, and that is like where he is at. And he managed to bring that up in nearly every response. So
That's all he's got.
I think
it's a nice move.
He got everybody talking about it too
exactly.
for a period of time. I mean, he took the stage on that one.
Oh, absolutely. So I think, is that a win as in he won the debate? Absolutely not. Is that a personal win for him? Absolutely. And I think that he also mentioned the biggest loser of the night, and that was the search engine Bing. It was really sad.
Bing has been losing for a while.
Bing is
done.
But you know what? We might see a resurgence in Bing now, since he said it. But
because people are going to Google Bing.
Yeah, they're going to Google what is Bing.
What is Bing in Google, yeah.
You better Prodigy while we're at it.
Old school. Oh man, I remember that stuff. Oh.
And by the way, let me clear up that my calling Yang the math guy was because he wore a math pen. If you guys noticed,
I saw that. Yeah,
that was dope. I'm not gonna
Hannah, I agree with you. I think you're right on point. That he has a future in this country, not as president.
Yeah,
like he's going to be somebody talking about, but not in the president. I mean, he'll probably be in the next cabinet or on some kind of department secretary, but I don't think he's not going to be president.
At least not right now. At least not right now.
He's 44. He looks like he's 44. He has some time.
Yeah,
keep going, Andrew. Keep going.
Yeah, find a different, get your feet wet in a different elected office,
right?
And then,
Well, be in an elected office first. How about that?
Yeah,
Actually,
that's what I'm saying.
Get a vote first.
Absolutely.
Straighten into this.
That's one of the things that I've really enjoyed about this whole thing. Like, and I know they talked about age, which has its relevant points. Bernie did have a heart attack. Joe Biden will be turning 80 during his presidency, but that shouldn't be a disqualifying factor. But what I do want to point out is there's a lot of really young people who are running. Yang, Beto, before Buttigieg, Tulsi Gabbard, and before he dropped out, Castro, Eric Swalwell is also really young, and I like to tout Swalwell anytime I can because that dude is a genius. I really like Swalwell. So Eric Swalwell, if you or Representative Swalwell, if you ever happen to hear this, you have you can come speak with us anytime. So. That's my plug for that. That dude, that guy's brilliant. I like
Swalwell. He seems like a good dude. I don't think he was ready for president. He wasn't quite presidential.
My laugh wasn't because I have anything against Eric Swalwell. My laugh was because it sounded like my husband was trying to ask him out on a date.
You know what, Eric Swalwell, I got a beer with your name on it. You let me know about it.
Never in Newport News.
Yeah, I hope this dude listens and then tweets us.
Chris, real quick, go ahead. You mentioned Bernie, and you didn't really mention too many winners. To me, he was a winner, only because he's always on point, he's always sharp, and he's 77, had a heart attack, and 2 weeks later he's on the stage.
Oh yeah,
just making jokes, and looks like he didn't have a heart attack.
Very good to see him up there. Absolutely, yeah. I really liked seeing him.
Will he be president? I don't think he will win the nomination, but he always shows up. He's always strong and making this good points and always fighting back, and
he adds to the conversation, and that's the most important part.
He moves a needle, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And he doesn't bullshit around about it. That's one thing I do appreciate about Bernie is like he tells you the straight facts and trusts you to be a intelligent person and make a decision.
And that's what Klobuchar pointed out. She said at least Bernie tells you he's going to raise taxes in reference to Warren.
Yeah. I mean, there is some point to that. I mean, Warren does have a tendency to, if she pivots very easily, right? And all politicians do that, but she gets it and she immediately, if I don't like it, I reframe the question in the context that I like and answer it that way. It comes off as evasive. And I think that's really why she was kind of getting hammered so much, because it kept coming off like she was evasive, and people kept trying to thinking that they could nail her down on it. She never really, I don't think, got nailed down on it, but I could think that she is still it shows that she's vulnerable to it, because I don't think she ever really answered the question. Even when Beto went after her,
she did say no.
She did.
Said no.
She said no?
She said no, and because he pressed her, he basically backed her into a corner, and she said no.
He got an answer out of her, and you could tell where if he had follow-up time, that could be an effective line of questioning. Mm-hmm. It's just, in 12-person debate, you ain't going to have that follow-up, so, therefore Twitter sees everybody's attacking Warren.
Yeah.
And that's what they run with.
It all gets edited that way anyways.
Yeah. And honestly, I don't think, I'm not too worried about, because I did hear some people like, oh my God, should he really be attacking Warren? I think Pete ended up being the lightning rod of this debate, so I'm honestly not concerned about any of that.
Oh no, and not even in a good way. Pete was not having favorable appeal on Twitter all around. It was just not a very good. I mean, you can have great points, but if you come off like a dick, people aren't going to listen to you.
Yeah, you can have great points, and you can aim them at other people, but just don't do it like a dick.
Exactly.
Not to kiss ass here, but I think Beto did a good job against Warren. Whether he was right or wrong is one thing, but he didn't come across as an asshole.
Yeah.
He made his point, and he made a point.
He made a good point. Yeah. I think he made a solid point in that. He made a solid point on the wealth tax, and I think those were, again, two solid points where if he had follow-up, I think you could really see where that would be effective.
He really could have done some dissecting there. And Dan, it is totally okay to kiss ass here. It's
this is a Beto comment.
I think I tell it as it is sometimes. I try to, but he doesn't come across. He's very good at not coming across as an asshole, as a dick, but also getting his point and trying to make it look a little bit worse for the wearer.
Yeah.
In a nice way.
Yeah. but I think he needed that. I don't think he's really done a lot of that in the last couple of debates.
No, and I think that's one thing that really kind of stood out, because I don't know about y'all, but I went to bed last night not really sure, and it took waking up this morning, and we talk about winners and losers. I mean, I wake up this morning and what's all over the news and what's all over Twitter and Facebook is Beto calling out Bill O'Reilly.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
So, as far as winners and losers, exactly. So, I say this, does debates really matter when that's what's all over, that's what's getting spread? So, I don't know.
I have held the stance from the very beginning that these debates are borderline pointless. I mean,
pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, I just, like you said, you can see where, if there was response time, you can see where his questioning of Elizabeth Warren on that point, on the taxation point, would have been really, really effective. There's just no time. Mm-hmm. There's no time. I did notice in this debate, I don't know, it felt more prominent to me, and I don't know why, but in the first two debates, Joe Biden was the quote-unquote front runner, or the recognized front runner, and going into this debate, Elizabeth Warren has been named the front runner. I felt like I saw a lot more direct, for lack of a better word, attacking of Elizabeth Warren and her policies and her stances than I did in previous debates against Joe Biden. Mm-hmm. Did you guys see that as well? And sure. Why do you think that is it just we're deeper in the race, so now we're just bringing the big guns out? Is Elizabeth, or is it that Elizabeth Warren is an easier target? Or
I think previously there was a lot of distinction, and they tried to draw a lot of distinction in quote unquote attacks between Biden and Bernie, especially over healthcare, and they did try and really, really push that down. And Warren kind of used Bernie to kind of take the heat on some of that stuff, where she kind of didn't get challenged like that. Now I think she's getting challenged. And yeah, I think you're right. Now that she's kind of risen to that second spot, she is getting that critique. Now, I do think that the critiquing is coming from a wider field, but I think that's also a factor of, well, it's when the window is narrowing and people got to make a move. Yeah. So I think it's just more of a timing of, okay, we had fun in the summer. Now it's time to actually get to like real campaigning.
Yeah.
I have 2 points on that. Biden has gone through a lot of hell the last couple of weeks, so I feel like attacking him would seem to make you look like a douche. Because Trump's has done what. Obviously, Trump's an asshole. Trump's wrong on this, but he's gotten attacked. His son's gotten attacked, and to pile on just looked terrible. And like I said a couple pods ago, maybe last one, it's a settlers metaphor. Warren's now in second or first place. You're going to go after her. She's playing the weak game, as I think Hannah pointed out last time. So
you got to play the weak game.
Yeah, so she's going to be attacked. And listen, that's with being on top comes people coming after you.
Oh, absolutely.
I think she handled it decently. I mean, I don't like that she's as sort of a Warren fan how she evades a tax question. There's got to be a way to put it in, not saying yes, I'm going to raise taxes, but to make it that you might be a small hit at first, but you're going to spend $1,000 or $5,000, $10,000 for the course of the year.
And when you get down to it, the problem with that answer is it's the same trap that Obamacare fell into when he said, well, you can keep your doctor no matter what. It's like there's when you can't really give a hard and fast answer to something like that when the scenarios are so different. A single male who is not paying for health insurance now, there's going to see their taxes go up. So, they're granted, you can make the argument that, hey, they're going to now get all these benefits, but they're still seeing their taxes go up. So, it's just really one of those. That's why I say, Bernie, he tells you like it is. He's not bullshitting you, and he lets you make a decision and trust that you'll make the right decision. I think Warren gets too wrapped up in making the case rather than laying it out, if that makes sense.
That's very smart, very on point.
That's a great way of saying it.
Yeah, she's always seemed disingenuous to me. But I'm have not been a big Warren fan, which is I make that case pretty much every time.
I never found her to be disingenuous.
That's a strong word, I think.
Not disingenuous, but I just.
Here's the problem.
You get mad that she calls herself a teacher.
Well, it's not so much even that she calls herself a teacher, because that whole thing, it does bother me to an extent, because teaching college and teaching classroom students is not the exact same thing. And it's not that I mean disingenuous. Disingenuous is a strong word. She doesn't back herself up, and she uses very generalized stories and people.
She's a politician. We got to remember this.
Tell.
She is fundamentally a politician. And honestly, if my biggest, because I do like Warren, but as a politician, I actually sometimes really worry about her political instincts, if I'm being honest. The whole issue with that DNA test really left a bad taste in my mouth, because by the time you took the DNA test, you should have known better. So
yeah, for sure.
So that really kind of bothers me.
That's what I mean. It's stuff like that.
Yeah,
that has always bugged me with her.
Doubling down on something that you kind of shouldn't have, So I don't know. I don't want to turn this into a bash Warren session. Like I said, there are times that I like her often, but
I think having her in the race makes everybody 1,000% better. Like they all make each other better because they all bring something to the table, and that's what's going to be good for our democracy. And then you have the ending of the debate.
So I'm going to bring up a complete non sequitur right now, and I have to mention this because my wife, she's not as political as I am, but she actually watched the debate with me, and she's wanted me to say that the one thing her takeaway is Cory Booker looks like he's always eating the best slice of pizza in his life.
And it's the best vegan pizza ever.
He's from New Jersey. We know our pizza. I'm sure every pizza is the best he's ever had. I don't know about Newark.
It's true. Every time he talks, and I realize she's right. Like every time he talks, he's got this like happy vibe. He's always talking about love. He's got this happy warrior vibe going on. That's like dude, you just don't have a down day, do you? You're just high on life all the time.
Every day is the best fucking day of his life.
So you're telling me he's the SpongeBob of this race?
That's
Best
what it
day
is.
ever.
I
love that.
It's the SpongeBob of this race.
I love
Yes.
the New Jersey love.
Yeah, no,
It's actually kind of funny. I didn't mention him before about Corey, and he kind of, in a way, was a loser last night. Jokes aside about his eating pizza. As good as charismatic as he is, as passionate as he is, he doesn't have that moment where he's like showing us why he's in this race or why he should be president.
Yeah. And
Like,
I
to me,
said that.
he could be a great VP, a great VP. But like, I don't know. I love him. He's my senator. I voted for him. I'll vote for him again. But I don't know. It's just he doesn't have that moment yet.
He's just
where
like,
it's yeah,
he's there.
yeah,
Yeah.
And
He's
listen,
there. He's doing it.
He's not Steyer. He's not Tulsi making ass themselves. But he's just hasn't pushed the needle yet.
I said that to Chris too, watching it. I was like, you know what? I really, really do love Cory Booker. I just don't think now is the time for him to be president.
I'm just not feeling it. I mean, you know,
It's hard.
I
I
agree
say
with
that
that.
as a fellow Jerseyan, but I don't know. I hope he realizes. And he's been.
I think one day maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
he
But-
definitely has a shot to make a difference.
I think he would be a great Veep. I think he has that energy, the passion, and that to groom himself. Not that he will be this time, but
Oh, I agree. I think he'd be a good vice president, and I don't want to get into the well, he should be running for vice president, or
Well,
he
you
should
don't
drop
want-
out and run for Senate because I hate that bullshit.
he-
They did that. They've been
yeah.
doing that to Beto.
but he's a senator and he can't drive out and run for vice president. You gotta.
No, I know, I know, I know that. No, I get that. I'm just saying in general. So I think one of the big things that kind of pissed people off, and Dan, you sent this to me, and apparently Kamala put it out.
That's where I got it from.
Who we haven't really have we talked about Kamala Harris yet?
No, we have not.
no, and I think we skipped her last debate too.
Yeah, but she's not making it. Ever since that first debate, she hasn't been doing too much. I like her too.
She tries too hard to make
do.
moments, right? She tries too hard. She has canned lines that are like, okay, Kamala, you're better than this.
Yeah.
Yeah, she uses
Yeah.
a lot of the same
Dude,
stuff.
gotta go.
She's very smart. She's almost like the who am I thinking of? Klobuchar in a different form. Like, but she tries too hard. She's so smart and so would be a great against Trump. But like, this, I don't know.
Yeah,
that's where I'm at. She hasn't pushed any kind of needles for me either. I did like that she went no. like Brett Kavanaugh. She's funny, man. She's got some tenacity
She can
to
do
her.
that, yeah.
I would not fuck with her. She will legally shred you. But no, seriously,
In legal
like,
terms, at that.
in legal terms. But just
Honestly, she's just been very inconsistent. Like you said, she'll have a good moment, and then follow up with a, and then have I don't know. And like you said, I like her. I do like her.
I like all of them, but it's one step forward, two
Except for
steps back
Except
with
for
her.
Tulsi. It's not like Tulsi.
Yeah, Tulsi. I'm
Yeah.
not.
So, come on, Chris,
Tulsi
don't be
and
so
Yang.
young.
I'm not gonna go. I have a rant prepared for Yang, but I don't think I'm going to bring it out today.
Just gonna pocket that one.
I'm going to pocket that one
Is
for
he
a
in the
little
next?
bit.
Is he in the next debate, Yang? Did he qualify?
I think he is.
He's
don't-
like my guilty pleasure, y'all.
I know, but his UBI is so bad. It's
Well,
not that
Chris
it's a
likes
UBI;
swallows,
it's
like
his
Yang.
UBI.
Yeah.
His proposal is so bad.
In general, it's bad. I think we need to bring back Tim Ryan personally, but that's just me.
Oh dear. Jeez.
But they did have that moment about legalizing marijuana. And
Yes, they did.
Bernie's all about it apparently,
Well, yeah,
but he
and
wasn't on it.
And Yang was yelling out "preach" while
Yeah.
Beto was saying his thing. I
Yeah.
had to rewind. Like, wait, that was Yang saying that. Hold on. All right.
Yeah.
Let's go, Yang.
Let's do this thing. Preach,
Yeah.
my friend. Yeah, no, that's I'm all for the legalization of the marijuanas.
Yes.
That's I mean they could use it in so many different ways and to help with so many different things.
Yeah, I love how he tied it to the opioid crisis and said
Absolutely.
that you're this is really the problem is we do need to talk about alternate pain medicine. And
Absolutely.
hey, by the way, here's one right here. That works.
It grows in the ground and it has killed no one
Exactly.
other than many bags of Doritos.
That's some brain cells.
Well,
Yeah. Hey, listen, if you haven't seen Super Jaime, you should watch it because Doug Benson gets a better score on the IQ test after he's stoned than when he was sober. True story. So one of the big criticisms, and Dan had sent this to me earlier, and I hadn't thought about it, is they ended the show talking about Ellen DeGeneres and George Bush, and then Kamala pointed out that they didn't talk about the climate crisis, which is the biggest fucking deal right now, outside of Donald Trump actively destroying the world. Climate crisis is next. They also didn't talk about LGBTQ plus rights, or immigration, which actually comes on the heels of the fact that CNN just did the LGBTQ plus forums, and you had a transgender woman of color stand up and call them out for not even having a transgender woman of color ask a question. So then to completely leave it out of the debates it's irresponsible. Like how many transgender women of color have died in Dallas? Like in the last 4 months, like 4, like 3 or 4. So it's some stupid number,
and nobody bothers investigating. Yeah, it's bad.
Ever. We hear about it over here, and it's like a quick blurb, and that's it.
And yeah, I mean, you understand it's compressed for time, and you understand that they want to kind of throw a little bit of a lighthearted, let's ask a non-typical question in there, but like that's the one you go with, Ellen DeGeneres and George Bush, and
Ellen show,
yeah. And that to be one that you go to everybody on,
right?
not like some of the other important topics that got skipped over at the beginning.
Like they didn't ask everybody on anything on the like we said, LGBTQ plus rights, immigration, climate crisis. I don't think everybody got a gun question. I think that was specifically. I mean, granted, Beto and Pete ate up a lot of time, so they probably had to drop questions, but still.
That was I got it from Kamala, that tweet, and she's right. Like, those are major points that Republicans don't either have a stance on or think aren't true, or are negative about it. I guess immigration's a tougher one, but like, you're right about the forum, but like, come on, you have 12 people up there, ask them a question.
Exactly. It's not that hard.
Didn't Castro talk about immigration? Is that his big thing?
It may have gotten mentioned. Yeah. Climate crisis got touched on here and there, but there were no questions.
Yeah.
I mean,
a candidate. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying that's why these debates are pointless.
Yeah.
What needs to happen is until this field is whittled down some, just continue doing these town halls that we're doing. I get more out of those than I do these debates.
I 100% agree. Those are so much better at introducing a candidate and telling you what the candidate is about. You actually get to do a deep dive on an issue and really understand who actually gets it and who doesn't. It's just such much better format. And I was against that event at first, but now I am 100% behind that format.
They've done one on climate and they've done one on LGBTQ plus rights. Like, just keep doing those.
Yeah, I forgot where I heard this from. Somebody pointed out they should do debates, but have people who have expertise on the fields ask questions. No defense to Anderson Cooper, but not journalists, and have the TV networks broadcast if they so choose.
Yeah, you could do an entire debate on one issue. Just make it one question and give everybody a chance to just really talk and dig into it. You want to talk about the economy for 2 hours and just ask one question and let them go.
Absolutely. Agreed. So they started the debate. I guess it would be an episode because we're it's the fourth one and they make a big deal out of all these things and then we get nothing out of it. But they started it with the impeachment question, and we've been doing it in an impeachment segment all of one time.
All of once.
All of once, but it's going to be recurring, I promise. And this is actually going to be fill in as part of this this segment. Or it's going to fit in this segment, so Dan's going to fill us in a little bit, and we're all going to talk about impeachment because it's a big fucking deal. I had to sit down in a meeting where we were taught how to teach politics to children because of what's going on and being careful not to put bias on it. So it's a big deal, and they asked all of the candidates, and I saw a tweet that Ethan Behrman put out about his daughter saying they're all saying the same thing. And they all do. Like, there's not much you can say about it other than, he needs to be impeached. He's a giant fucking asshole. Like, duh. Like, how are they not seeing this? He's committing crimes.
Yeah,
So,
blatantly.
On camera. In writing.
On camera. I mean, we had a couple arrests this week. We've had
One more
people.
today.
Yeah,
another one today.
At JFK.
Another attempting to flee the country.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Somebody's gonna. I'm sorry. You can go, Ryan. I'm sorry.
Yes, go ahead.
No, you can go.
I was saying it's like he's
When
running.
did you fucking
He's running this whole like shadow diplomacy organization through Rudy Giuliani of all people. Like seriously, think about this for a second. If you're gonna run a criminal organization that's looking to do nefarious things, you're gonna choose Rudy Giuliani. Like the only thing the only thing that's saving us from Trump is the fact of how incompetent he is. Like for real.
It's funny. I texted Chris a week ago. I almost feel bad for Rudy. Like for 19 years ago, he was a hero. He was beloved by anybody, any side of the aisle. And now he's like a laughing stock of the world. And he's not even getting paid by Trump to do this.
He's getting something out of it.
Well, maybe in the side. Apparently, it's illegal to do pro bono work for the government as a lawyer.
Oh no! Part of this deal, didn't he get $500,000 from that company that those two Russians got arrested for?
Probably also illegal.
Yeah, I think that was one of the things. Like I saw today, the investigation is including a counterintelligence element to it. So yeah, Rudy's in trouble.
He'll be like in prison.
He just got fired by his lawyer. I mean, now saying he did. He changed lawyers and is now running around claiming he won't comply with any subpoena. So I think his lawyer said, "No, peace. I'm out for that one."
Yeah. Rudy's real fucked. Rudy, but before this is all over, Rudy is going to be hitting high notes. He's going to sing like a bird, and
do you think he will?
Dude, what else is he going to do? Hope that Trump pardons him, and then they get him on.
But he's kind of like Manafort. I don't know if he's going to sing.
I mean, Manafort did, and then screwed himself.
True, he did. But if Donald Trump calls you and says, "Hey, I need you to work for me," click. Why the fuck would you answer that call and talk to this guy? Nobody, and as well for nobody.
Nobody should be answering.
Who's it end well for in his administration? Other than his fucking kids.
I mean, Kelly Conway still has a job.
Who, by the way, how the fuck is she married to George Conway?
Say, and a husband apparently.
Like, how is that even possible? Like, I get you have differences, but like, come on, you literally attack her boss every day.
I think she's a talented actress playing a character on TV. I think that's my conclusion.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
she's a whore for attention.
I bet you Kellyanne Conway is the whistleblower. Watch.
Dude.
Write that one down.
No, I don't think so.
Write it down.
I don't think so.
I gotta sleep on that one, Chris.
I think because if you hear what this whistleblower did, they went straight to the lawyer and had the lawyer assist him in filing this to make sure he was fully legal. I think this was legitimately a career person who, realized some shit was going down and found the first person he could to make a report.
It's true, but Kellyanne Conway is kind of married to a lawyer who she may have gone to first, and he would have given her legal advice to go talk to the other lawyer.
Let's make a friendly bet here.
Well, my money was on John Bolton for a while, but I think that one got dispelled.
Yeah. See, but here's the thing: we may never know who this person is because, Trump supporters are psychopaths and they will try to kill him, or Donald Trump will try to have him killed, like he did,
He's legally
Jeffrey
protected.
Epstein. But
there's laws against knowing who this person is.
Yeah, exactly.
Literally law.
And that's okay. I mean, look at what was it, Deep Throat?
Yes, he was like 93 when he came out.
He didn't come out for 40 years or something like that.
Yeah.
There are laws for a reason because these people can be dangerous, and when you have a despot who rules via Twitter and he says horrendous things about people, it fires up their base. Look at what happened in El Paso.
Yep.
Look at what happened in Florida with the MAGA bomber. People listen, and in the cult-like status of the Trump campaign needs to be taken seriously, not necessarily as a political thing, and it should be taken seriously as a political thing because you never know what they're going to fucking pull out to try to trash you with. But as an entity, as a cult-like entity, it's got to be treated with kids' gloves. I mean, how far away from a terrorist organization does it have to be? People got killed in El Paso. there was a bomb threat.
Dayton, people that go there.
There were people killed in Dayton. I don't think they didn't tie that to. I don't think he mentioned Trump at all in that. I'm just talking specific things, specific moments where they named Donald Trump as an inspiration. How far away is that?
It's
getting damn close.
Blurred lines, what that is.
Yeah. Exactly, and it sucks to name it that, to call it that way, because I have Trump supporting family members.
Me too.
Who buy into the line of, you're gonna have to come and take my AR-15. Well, no, they fucking aren't. What are you gonna do? Shoot your way out of the police? Sit down. You're all old.
But they have AR-15s, Chris, so they're good.
Yeah, well, they also care way too much about what their neighbors think.
I just love how they go from Blue Lives Matter to we're going to kill the cops like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Mr. National Security President over here fucking over our troops and the Kurds. That's, cool guy.
And that should be another thing that they need to just start piling stuff on. I mean, when are the Republicans going to flip?
And fuck Lindsey Graham, that disingenuous fucker. Oh my God. John McCain is going to fuck you over. You're going to go to hell? And McCain could have float down and fuck him in the ass and go back to bed. Sorry, that was pretty vulgar. You want to cut it out? Go right ahead. But and then I can't take this he's wrong on this and he's made a great decision. No, get the fuck out of here. Stop. You're done.
He's a slime ball.
Vote Jamie Harrison.
Right? Yes, vote Jamie Harrison. Absolutely.
Oh my God, slime ball's absolutely right. You can't support him in taxes and crap, and then say, he's not good and he's hurting with the Kurds in Syria. No, you can't have it both ways.
Yeah.
Sorry. I love Kavanaugh. I'm a single guy.
People.
Yeah. Putting our troops in danger. And Crown, you said you're a former service member?
Yep.
How the fuck would you feel if you happened to you, if you're overseas and suddenly they say, sorry, you got to leave and good luck?
I mean, the whole situation is fucked up. Yeah. It really is.
I never served, obviously, but I could imagine my president leaving me out to dry.
Yeah.
But No, I was just going to say, this whole conversation we're having right now, I think it was Buttigieg said it in the debate. He said the actions of the president or influence the actions of those around him. The actions of the president influence our allies or influence our enemies just as much as they influence our allies. And that is the key issue here. And everybody keeps, I get a little frustrated when watching these debates. Everybody's like, we got to get Donald Trump out. We got to get Donald Trump out. And it's kind of like, we know, you don't have to keep saying it. If you're just looking for a cheap pop from the crowd, we get it. We know that that's what we have to do. But then we have this conversation and I just think about it. It really is what we have to do because it's becoming an issue on so many levels. Mm-hmm. Because with Syria, he had a conversation with Erdogan on the phone, and the next day, Turkey is in Syria. His actions have influenced the rest of the world.
Absolutely. We're literally bombing our own military bases because they had to get out of there so fast.
Yeah.
Well, this is what happened when you elect a president who says, I know more than my generals do. Well, guess what? You don't. Sorry.
He doesn't know more than...
It's a reason why we have generals, joint chiefs, and all that good stuff, because they know they've been doing this for years, and they've been in the situations. You don't know what you're talking about, sir. You've bankrupted... Oh, I'm going to tell a quick funny story, by the way, if I have a second.
You got a second. We're gonna end this on a lighthearted note with Dan's possibly offensive story.
No, it's not. No, it's not. Can we end with the question who we are weirdest friends is? No, just kidding. So I was at a concert Saturday night in Atlantic City. Hard Rock Casino used to be Trump Taj Mahal. I happened to be with a Trump supporter, and he was like, "Oh, it's so busy here on a Saturday night, blah blah blah." And I'm like, "Yeah, it takes a real smart guy to bankrupt a fucking casino." It's funny how we were in a fucking former Trump property that got bankrupt, and the guy had no fucking idea that how the fuck could somebody bankrupt a casino that should be busy, should be fine.
Exactly.
I find it funny, but whatever.
Cool story, bro.
Can we cut that one out? Nobody seems to like that story. Fuck you all. I quit.
No, no, Daniel. everybody will know your story. And we'll tell it for years.
Hey, if I have to listen about Chris's poop, this is fine.
Oh yeah, y'all weren't on for that one.
I've seen.
Oh, it wasn't my poop. It was a student's. It was a student's. That was on our veterans episode. We ended it with a poop joke.
I've had Chris run to the bathroom from a car after eating a served taco, so I know what Chris's poop is like.
Jesus, is this what this has devolved to? This is exactly what our listeners want to hear.
You made fun of me. I'm sorry right now. Scorchy girth right now.
Maybe we will edit this out after all.
You tell another bad story if you want to.
No, we've got to. It's got to stay.
It
All right,
really
guys.
doesn't.
All right, guys. Thanks for coming on. Until next month, we'll catch you guys later. Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Right.
So, how do you think that went, Ryan? Like, what do you think everybody's at on this whole debate thing?
I think that the field is wide open, frankly. At the end of the day, especially Biden. I mean, I think I said in the segment that, my wife watched it for me for the first time, and she got a good look at Biden. She kept wondering, like, why up there? And I'm like, he's your front runner. And you got to think about it. He is the poll leader or front runner. He's the guy. So, to say that this race is in any way set in stone, I think you have to ignore your own eyes and only listen to the pundits. So I don't watch cable news. I don't watch CNN. I don't watch MSNBC. I recommend turning them off. Ignore them. They aren't friendly to Beto. Screw them.
See, I'm weird. I get my news through Twitter and CNN and MSNBC. And I get it from all over the place because somewhere in the middle is going to be the truth. And when you line them up, you can see kind of where the facts line up, and you can develop your own idea. So, this person said this. Oh,
don't
this is
watch
really what they
TV.
said.
Just don't watch it on TV. They're new. The shows on TV are not real news. It's punditry 24/7. You're listening to somebody's opinion. It's just don't.
Did you just say they're fake news?
No, I'm saying pundits. They're pundits. There's a difference.
I know. I couldn't help myself. I'm sorry. So, all right, guys, that's gonna bring us to the end of our show, and I want to go ahead and replug Get Out, and I guess it would be tonight. We're recording Wednesday night, but this will come out on Thursday. Get out to Dallas. Let's show the fuck up and really show Donald Trump that his bullshit isn't welcome in our fucking country anymore. Let's get his ass out of the White House. Let's get his ass in a jail cell. Him and all of those other complicit motherfuckers they have working up there. So to do that, we need to donate. We need to volunteer. We need to get out, knock doors, do all of that. All of it. So, Ryan, do you want to close it out this time?
All right, let's do it. Keep on looking ahead to better days. Thank you.
Yes.
I got it.
Got him.